Test 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3. All right. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Week 3 Sunday Royal Hangout here on RotoExperts.com, part of the exclusive Edge Fantasy Football Package. Thanks, everybody, for coming back. Appreciate it. Get ready for Week 3. You can check out my lineup ranks and, of course, my game previews on the site homepage. Let's get started. Start firing off your questions here, and I'll start answering them. And hopefully everybody can see and hear me okay, and we'll get things rolling here. So let me launch this part. Okay. All right. Let's go to the first question. We're already getting them here. Is Alfred Morris still worth holding on to in a PPR? I have Peterson, Jeremy Hill, David Johnson, Duke Johnson, Todd Gurley. I have. Oh, hold on. All right. Okay. That was the last question. I'll get to that. Tyrod versus Tannehill. Both of them difficult matchups, but I'll stick with Tannehill there. King, you have Steve Johnson ranked higher in PPR than Jordan Matthews. I'm already starting Keenan Allen. Should I go with Johnson as well? I also roster Charles Johnson. Look, I don't always like having too many guys from the same team, but I don't like Matthews against the Jets. Need one from Gio Bernard, Cooks, and Spiller. I don't like Cooks' matchup today. Spiller, how much will he be involved? I'll take my chances with Gio Bernard. Witten or Gilmore, I just don't trust Gilmore yet. I'll go Witten. And Alfred Morris still worth holding on to in a PPR. I have Peterson, Jeremy Hill, David Johnson, Duke Johnson, and Todd Gurley. Also have Tannehill, worried he might not play. There's no reports that Tannehill is not going to play. When a guy's listed as probable, he's should be expected to play. I don't know where you got that from, KD3. It always depends on who Alfred Morris you're cutting for, but I wouldn't get rid of him. Need a flex from Ryan Matthews, Steve Smith, David Johnson, CJ Spiller, Bilal Powell. Starting Ivory is RB2. Well, I don't think you can use both of the Jets running backs there. I don't think that would be too smart. I will go with David Johnson for the upside. Half point PPR league for flex: David Johnson, Bolden, Duke Johnson, or Starks. Well, like you say, Lacey plays, Mike. I'm going to go with David Johnson for the upside. Would you pick up and start any of these QBs over Rivers, Bridgewater, Foles, Tyrod, Carter, Bowles? No, I wouldn't. Rivers has played very well this season so far. Need one from Ivory, Cooks, or Wallace. I don't like any of them. I'll go with Ivory to get the most touches. Need a standard flex: Andre Johnson, Ronnie Hillman, Carlos Williams, and Trey Mason. I'll go with Andre Johnson to get back involved in the offensive flow today. Witten or Ertz, definitely Witten. Need two from Steve Smith, Yeldon, Watkins, and John Brown. I love John Brown today against the 49ers. I'll go with Yeldon for the most work there. And the New England run defense is not looking too good right now. All right, need two or three: John Brown, Devontae Adams, Hearns, Rashard Matthews. I already said I like John Brown. I think Hearns is a sneaky play. Would you drop Rashard Matthews for Devontae Parker? I would not do that yet. Doug Martin or James Jones. I feel like Martin's on the verge of a breakout game, and it could be today. Rivers or Tyrod. Rivers has been playing well, but I think it's going to be a little tougher for Tyrod Taylor at Miami. Doug Martin or Mark Ingram. I definitely like Doug Martin there. Vernon Davis, Ertz, or Gilmore. I'm liking Vernon Davis, and Arizona's been giving up some passing yardage. Need one in a 12-team standard: Martin, Stewart, Woodhead, Mari Cooper, or Moncrief. I'm going to go with Moncrief for the most upside. I do like Martin too. Devontae Adams and Jordan Matthews. I will go with Adams. I just don't like Matthews. Dalton or Stafford. I'm going to take my crack with Dalton. I really don't like Stafford against Denver. 4-point passing, 6-point rushing. Have Stafford and Mariota. Which one should I start today? I have that decision. I'm going Mariota. I like his matchup better. Should I drop either for Taylor, Foles, Manuel, Dalton, or Kaepernick? Right now, I would hold off on doing it. Something to continue to think about. 12-team standard, need three from Fitzgerald, Yeldon, Hilton, Landry, and Tate. Landry's a must start. Can't bench Hilton, so it comes down to Fitzgerald or Yeldon. It's tough, but I think Yeldon gets more touches. Would you drop Rashard Matthews for the Crow? If you need a running back, yes. Or would you drop, I assume you mean Isaiah Crowell, or drop him for Cruz, drive Alfred Morris. I also have Alfred Morris I could drop for either. I wouldn't cut Morris just yet. I would get Crowell for Matthews, though. Half-point PPR for flex: Bolden, Wallace, Roddy, or Trey Mason. I'm looking for a rebound game from Roddy White today. Need a running back as in a flex from Randall, Forsett, Ivory, Chris Johnson, no. Doug Baldwin, Malcolm Floyd. I think your best choices there are definitely Randall and Forsett. Need one in a PPR: Gore, Spiller, Terrence Williams, Roddy, David Johnson. I'm going to go with Gore. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game, and he could score more than one touchdown this week. Most likely to score 20 points this week: Denver or Carolina. It's hard to predict turnovers sometimes. I like both of these units, but Carolina's going against Luke McCown. I have Brady, who's on a bye next week. Need to pick up a quarterback. Who should I take? I need to drop someone. Roger, you're getting ahead of yourself. You need to see what happens this week first. Don't look at waivers on a Sunday for the following week. Get through this week first. Let's see how the performances go. Let's see what happens with injuries. Don't worry about waivers for next week yet. Worry about setting your lineup for today. Need two flex from Colston, Blunt, Amendola, Shorts, Bilal Powell, Ben Watson, or Kendricks. I would go with Blunt to score a touchdown and Shorts to be somewhat involved in the offensive flow. Need two with Forsett, Latavius Murray, or Jonathan Stewart. Love Latavius Murray today, and I'll go with Forsett. Need a running back, wide receiver, and a flex: Ivory, Bernard, Landry, John Brown, Moncrief. I love the matchup for John Brown. Landry, you can't bench him. I'll go with Moncrief. Kaepernick or Dalton? I like both of these guys, but I think Kaepernick is a lock for more yardage. Please pick one. Ivory, Abdullah, David Johnson. I'll go David Johnson for the most upside. D2 from Lynch, McCoy, Hyde, and Forsett. Lynch will play today, but you have other options. I'll go McCoy and Hyde. For flex, Keenan Allen, Allen Robinson, and one of the other backs. I like both Keenan Allen and Allen Robinson today, but I like the matchup better for Allen Robinson. Need a flex from Baldwin, Freeman, Hearns, Gilmore, or Chris Johnson. I will go with Hearns against that New England secondary. Jeremy Hill of Forsett, I think Hill bounces back. It is the league's policy to suspended players do not practice with their teams, and so what can we expect from Martavis Bryant upon his return? Uh, I think maybe it'll take a game with him to get in the flow, but there's lots of upside from week 5 or 6 on. What do you think about Bilal and Ivory? Ivory's expected to start. I think it might end up being a timeshare. I'm in a 10-team PPR. I have Demaryius Thomas, Cobb, Macklin, Terrence Williams, Charles Johnson, Brandon Coleman, Jeremy Hill, Ingram, Ivory, Rashard Matthews, and David Johnson. Devontae Parker, Perriman are free agents. I would drop Brandon Coleman for Perriman. Giovanni Bernard, TJ Yeldon. I think Yeldon gets more work today. Like the matchup. Should I trade the Broncos defense for Amir Abdullah? This defense is pretty high, but I can pick up the Bengals. Anytime you can trade the Broncos defense in any format for a skill position player, if that offense is on the table, the offer's on the table, I would do it. Bridgewater or Foles. I think Foles has a little bit more statistical upside this week. Need 2 running backs, wide receiver, and a flex. DeMarco, Martin, Randall, Cooks, Abdullah, Joik, and Duke. Martin for some upside today. Randall for a lot of work, and I think Anquan Bolden's the safest of your rest. Devonta Freeman or Vincent Jackson. I'll go Freeman for more touches. Taylor or Stafford. I think both have tough matchups. I'm going to slightly lean Stafford. Do you play David Johnson, Macklin, or Lacey? Lacey's playing. I use him. What's latest on Marshawn? He's expected to play. Also have David Johnson at 4 p.m. Start Marshawn if active. Lynch plays. You got to use him. Need 2 running backs and a flex. Randall, Stewart, David Johnson, Yeldon, Torrey Smith, Lockett. I would go with Yeldon and Randall for the most quality touches and biggest market share. Need 2 flex from David Johnson, Jared Cook, Sankey, Baldwin, Decker. Decker's out today. Colston and Kendricks. David Johnson for upside and Cook for the matchup. Dion Lewis or Eddie Lacy in a standard league. Lacy plays. I use him. Need your expert advice. Flex and 2 running backs from Andrew. Let's see. Let's go with Yeldon for a high amount of touches. Mike Evans, now that he's at a week back, and Moncrief. Oh wait, you need a flex and 2 running backs. I would go with Mike Evans, Yeldon, and David Johnson. Delaney Walker and Jack Cook are available. I would use Delaney Walker now that he's back over Ebron, and definitely the Dolphins over the Rams, better matchup. Need 2 in a PPR. Forsett, Yeldon, Melvin Gordon, Abdullah, or David Johnson. I really like Melvin Gordon as a sneaky play today, and I'll go with Yeldon. Kaepernick or Tyrod Taylor. I'll go Kaepernick. Jordan Matthews, Jarvis Landry, or John Brown. I'm going to go John Brown there. Would you drop Joik Bell and pick up and play Bilal over Doug Martin or DeMarco Murray? Now that Ivory's playing, I probably wouldn't do that. Need 2 flex from Sankey, Colston, Hearns, or Nate Washington. I'll go Sankey to get some work, and I like Hearns today. Need 2 from David Johnson, Lamar Miller, Lance Dunbar, Blunt, and Crabtree. It's a PPR. I think Dunbar gives you a nice floor, and I'll go David Johnson for upside. Matt Ryan or Cam Newton, definitely Ryan. Flacco or Bradford. Both have tough matchups. I think you get better volume from Bradford. Need one in a PPR, John Brown, Andre Johnson, or Stevie Johnson. Love the matchup for John Brown today. Dalton, Tannehill, or Taylor. I'll stick with Tannehill there. He running back from Chris Johnson, Sankey, or Freeman. I think Freeman always offers you the most versatility. Need one tough one. Allen Robinson, Landry, Terrence Williams, or Abdullah Robinson for me. Joseph Randall or Jeremy Hill. I think Hill bounces back. Rivers or Kaepernick. Rivers has been playing well. Would you drop New England for Arizona? Not today, no. Need a flex from Baldwin, Benjamin, Beasley, or Malcolm Floyd. I'll go Baldwin there. Can't trust Benjamin. Rashard Matthews or Roddy White. I think Roddy White bounces back. Need two flex from Chris Johnson, Wheaton, Torrey Smith, Kendricks, or Ebron. I'll go Torrey Smith for some upside and Ebron for maybe a touchdown. Dalton or Stafford. I still stick Stafford. Need to start two of these players: Lacey, Fitzgerald, Allen Robinson, Stevie Johnson, and Macklin. Like Allen Robinson's matchup, and I'll go with Fitzgerald. C.J. Anderson, Ivory, and Doug Martin. I think Anderson bounces back this week. Need a running back, wide receiver, and a flex: Ivory, Trey Mason, Ryan Matthews, Landry, John Brown, Wheaton, Colston. Running back, I'll go with Ivory now that he's playing, and Landry and Brown. Need two wide receivers from Cooks, Devontae Adams, and Terrence Williams. I would be benching Cooks there. Have Lacey, Stark. Should I wait it out and just go with Doug Martin in a PPR? I'll go with Doug Martin. I think he's got significant upside. Would you drop Brandon Coleman to stash Parker, Perriman, Doyle Green, Beckham, Brian Quick, or Victor Cruz? I would stash Victor Cruz. He's got to get involved when he comes back. Pick two: Mike Wallace, Crowell, Ivory, Decker is out. David Johnson and James Starks. I will go Crowell for the matchup and David Johnson for the upside. Standard, pick one: Stewart, Lamar Miller, Watkins, Stevie Johnson. Since it's standard, I'll go with Stewart. The two best flex options: Dion Lewis, Sproles, or Hopkins. Hopkins is expected to go. I'll go Lewis. Thank you, Coach. Appreciate it. Should I drop Mike Wallace for Roddy White? Sounds like a small league. I would do that. One flex in a non-PPR: Fitzgerald, Cooks, Devontae Parker, Bilal, Woodhead. I think you got to go Woodhead there. Need one: Vincent Jackson, Stewart, or David Johnson. I'll go Vincent Jackson. Which defense is stream? Cincinnati, Indianapolis, Atlanta, Dallas, Pittsburgh? Definitely Cincinnati. I would never use Pittsburgh against anybody. Need three in the standard league: Keenan, Fitzgerald, Moncrief, Amari Cooper, Watkins. Matchup-wise, I like Keenan, Allen, Fitzgerald, and Moncrief. Pick one from Moncrief, Cooks, Devontae Parker, Golden Tate, Moncrief. Lacey, Stewart, Blunt, or Watkins. Lacey now that he's going to play. Need two in a PPR: Evans, Matthews, Andre Johnson, or Crabtree. I'll go Evans and Andre Johnson to bounce back. Lamar Miller or Sproles in a PPR. Play it safer with Sproles. Cooks or TJ Yeldon. Like Yeldon a lot today. Which backup quarterback should I pick up? Bradford, Dalton, Kaepernick. Point per completion, I would go Bradford, Kaepernick, Dalton. Yeldon, Miller, or Crowell. Definitely Yeldon. PPR flex: John Brown, Spiller, Bolden, Stevie Johnson, or David Johnson. Love the upside of Brown today. So Ivory's out. Would you play Powell today? Ivory is playing. He's expected to play. Hold on 1 second here. Okay, let's get back to your questions. Need two: Jonathan Stewart, Cooks, or Sankey. I would not use Sankey there. Which wide receiver in a half-point PPR? Kendall Wright, Steve Smith, or Adams? I'll still stick Adams there. Would you start Woodhead or Freeman or over Hill or Forsett? I don't think I could quite do that. D2 in a standard, Lynch, Stewart, and Blunt. I'd be Lynch and Blunt there. Lynch is expected to play. TJ Yeldon, Devontae Freeman, Anquan Bolden, or Michael Crabtree. I go Yeldon. I think he gets high market share today, and I like the matchup. John Brown and Moncrief, it's close. I like John Brown. Abdullah, Lamar Miller. I'll go Abdullah there. Miller's not 100%. Drop Rashard Matthews for Duke Johnson, Coleman, Doug Baldwin, or Charles Johnson. If you mean Tevin Coleman, yes. Luck or Palmer, I'm not benching Andrew Luck. Trade Carson Palmer. My running backs are Lacey, Joik, Mason, Christian Michael, Chris Johnson, and Al Davis. Do I hope for Lacey and throw in Davis if late scratch? Lacey's expected to play. Ivory or Bernard, I'll go Ivory in a non-PPR. One flex standard, Dion Lewis, Blunt, Lynch, Doug Martin, DeMarco Murray. Lynch is playing, so I would use him. D2, Woodhead, Yeldon, or Martin. I would have to bench Woodhead there. Watkins or James Jones. James Jones, better shot of a touchdown. Flex starts Jordan Matthews or David Johnson. David Johnson for the upside. Denver or the Jets. I slightly prefer the Jets. They are at home. Need a running back flex and a wide receiver. Gio, Freeman, C.J. Anderson, Forsett, Hopkins, Allen Robinson, Landry. Running back, C.J. Anderson to bounce back, and then I would go Allen Robinson and Hopkins. Dion Lewis or McCoy. I think McCoy has a very good day today. Abdullah, Woodhead, or Spiller. I'll go Woodhead there. Matthews, Moncrief, Stewart, or Martin. I will go Moncrief there. Forsett, C.J. Anderson, or Freeman. Anderson to rebound. What's the word on DeAndre Hopkins? He's expected to play. Bengals, Browns, or Dolphins on defense. I slightly lean the Bengals. Who do I start at wide receiver? Devontae Adams, John Brown, and Moncrief. Love Devontae Adams. John Brown this week. Stewart, Ryan Matthews, Tate, or Watkins. Definitely Stewart. Peyton or Palmer. I'll go Palmer this week. Better matchup for him. Drop Miami for Cincinnati. Points allowed and turnovers. Yes, Cincinnati's playing very well. Need a flex at a wide receiver. Stewart, Ryan Matthews, Blunt, Rashard Matthews, Hearns, Dobson, or Hankerson. Like the matchup for Stewart, and Blunt will get you a touchdown. David Johnson or Hangout to start until Lacey sits. Lacey's expected to play. Use Johnson. Lacey, Gore, Ingram need two. I'll go Lacey and Gore there. I don't like the matchup for Ingram. Ingram, Devondre Hopkins, Doug Martin, and Terrence Williams pick two. I'll definitely go Hopkins and Martin. Need two for a PPR. Hill, Yeldon, Lamar Miller, Woodhead. Definitely Hill and Yeldon. Gio Bernard or David Johnson. I'll go Johnson for a little more upside today. Would you drop Macklin to pick up Derek Carr for the Week 5 bye for Tannehill? First off, no. Second off, stop looking ahead so far to Week 5. Things change for week between now and Week 5. You don't have to worry about your quarterback right now. Backup quarterback right now. Don't cut Jeremy Macklin. Witten or Clay? Definitely Witten. Steve Johnson, Michael Crabtree, Ronnie Hillman, Mike Wallace, Roddy White. Need two. Stevie Johnson to be very busy and Roddy White to bounce back. Seattle or Broncos? Got to use the Seahawks. Gets Jimmy Clausen and the Bears? Yes. No Alshon Jeffrey. Tannehill or Rivers? Rivers has been playing well. Lamar Miller or Marcus Wheaton? I don't use Marcus Wheaton. Don't recommend using him. Let's see. Do two running backs of flex. Gio, Woodhead, Duke Johnson, Royal. I'll go Gio and Woodhead for sure. Standard Crabtree, Bolden, and Stevie Johnson. I'll go Stevie Johnson with tight ends not there. Thoughts of Arizona running back situation once Ellington returns? Ellington's still the lead guy, and maybe you start seeing some more of David Johnson. PPR, Stewart or Freeman? Definitely Stewart. Need a flex play, David Johnson, Torrey Smith, Lockett, Stewart. I'll go Stewart there. He's your safest. 10-team league, I have Le'Veon Bell, Stuart Ellington, D'Angelo Williams, Sankey, Cooks, Evans, Hopkins, Devontae Parker, Aguilar, Cameron, Artis Payne. Impairment on the waivers. Would you drop anyone to pick up both players? I think it's a situation in a 10-team league where you just can't have everyone. Any chance Foles continues the QB assault in the Steelers secondary? Brad Cooks is in slow start mode. Do we wait for Breeze to return or sell high after his first big game? I think Foles throw at least 2 touchdown passes today. I think Cooks will be better down the line. Fitz or Bortles? I'll go Fitzgerald, Doug Martin, and TJ Yeldon. Martin for a little more upside. Crowell or David Johnson? Crowell to get in the end zone. I have Bradford. Picked up, I'm going to start Tyrod Taylor. Should I pick up Sanchez Insurance and carry 3 QBs until things clear up? I like it, but it all depends on who you cut. I have Murray or Lynch. I do not have a backup. Lynch doesn't go. Lynch is expected to play. Wheaton or Devontae Adams? Definitely Adams. Adams is expected to play. David Johnson or Lynch, if Lynch is active. Lynch is expected to play today. Do I roll with Lacy or move Jonathan Stewart to running back and plug in which wide receiver for flex? Vincent Jackson, John Brown. I would stick with Lacy, now that he's going to go, and leave Stewart in the flex. Flex in the PPR, Lacy, Freeman, Bolden, Watkins, Marvin Jones, definitely Lacy. Walker or Heat? Don't understand what you mean there. Devontae Adams or Hearns? I'll go Adams. Is expected to play. Need a running back and a wide receiver and a flex. Yeldon, Woodhead, Randall Miller, Cooks, Fitzgerald, Mike Wallace. Your running back is Yeldon for high market share. Wide receiver, definitely Fitzgerald. And a flex, I'll go Joseph Randall for the most touches. Roll with Lacy or use Jordan Matthews or Crabtree instead. Stick with Lacy. Foles or Rivers? Rivers have been playing very well. Crowell or David Johnson? Definitely. Not definitely. To PPR, I'll go David Johnson. Actually, I like Crowell again in the end zone. I'm going to go Crowell. Jordan Matthews, John Brown, or Landry? I'll go John Brown. Stafford or Tyrod Taylor? I'll stick with Stafford there. Both have tough matchups. Stafford's a little more proven. Who should I start at wide receiver to? Devontae Adams, John Brown, or Dante Moncrief? I already answered this one. I said John Brown. Do not type your questions twice. I will get to all of them. If you type them twice, it slows us down. So please don't type your question twice. Thank you. I do see all of them. Rashard Matthews or Freeman? Freeman for more guaranteed touches. Second. Okay, need 2 standard scoring. Stewart, Martin, Ivory, or David Johnson. Martin for the upside, Stewart for the matchup. Need 1 running back and 2 flex. Stewart, Dion Lewis, Gio Woodhead, Keenan Allen, Kendall Wright. Stewart, Dion Lewis, and Keenan Allen. Palmer, Tannehill, definitely Palmer. Can use tight end as a flex. Kelsey Eifert, Forsett, Abdullah, David Johnson, Andre Johnson, Stevie Johnson. I would use the 2 tight ends. Standard, start 1 flex, Devontae Adams, Duke Johnson, or John Brown. I love the matchup for Brown today. If Lynch doesn't play, Lynch is going to play. Rashard Matthews or Roddy White. I like White to bounce back. Need two, Freeman, C.J. Anderson. Freeman, you list him twice. Allen Robinson, C.J. Anderson to bounce back, and Allen Robinson. Hilton Macklin or Allen Robinson. I love Allen Robinson today against the Patriots. Hyde, Charles Johnson, Coleman, or Dorsett, not even close. It's Hyde. Do you believe Christian Michael eventually assumes the RB1 spot in the Dallas backfield? I think it's going to end up being a timeshare, and he'll end up being the goal line guy. St. Louis or Cincinnati? Definitely Cincinnati. Flex for PPR, John Brown, Terrence Williams, Woodhead, Blunt, Lamar Miller. Really love the matchup for John Brown today. Pick two at a standard, Blunt's, Lacey, or Stewart. I'd be benching Blunt there. Need three, Murray, Ivory, Stewart, David Johnson, Dunbar in a PPR. I will go with Stewart, David Johnson, and Dunbar. Pick one, Rashard Matthews, Hearns, Dobson, or Hankerson. I like Hearns against that secondary of New England. Anquan or Gio. I'll go with Anquan to be more involved in the flow of the game. Crowell or David Johnson. Crowell to get in the end zone. Duke Johnson or Royal. I would not use Royal. Would you flex Lockett on DraftKings and team him up with the Seattle defense? I already did that. That's a good strategy because if he scores on a return, you get double points. Cameron or Gilmore. I'll go Cameron now that he's playing. Doug Martin or Eddie Lacy. I like Doug Martin for the upside. I think he's a little bit of a safer play. Doug Martin, Moncrief, Allen Robinson, Keenan Allen, pick two. Allen Robinson and Moncrief. Do I drop Bolden for Roddy White, Travis Benjamin, Isaiah Crowell, or C.J. Spiller? I would get Roddy White. He's going to bounce back. John Brown and Landry, like them both, but Brown more. Owen Daniels or Tammy. I would lean Tammy there. Gio or Lacey. Lacey's expected to play. Need three from C.J. Anderson, Gore, Forsett, and Melvin Gordon. I think C.J. Anderson bounces back. I like Gore today, and I like Melvin Gordon today. Hearns or Nate Washington. I'll go Hearns. Start one flex, Doug Martin, James Jones, or Brandon Cooks. I'm going to go with Doug Martin for the upside there. Cincinnati, or with Lynch being active, do I start him over Latavius Murray? Murray's got a really good matchup. I got to go Murray. Cincinnati and Miami defense rest of the season. There's just not a rest of the season answer with defenses a lot of times. I like Cincinnati better right now. Don't worry about the rest of the season with defenses. A lot of time, people stream them. DeMarco or Stewart, I'll go Stewart for more touches. Crabtree or Kendall Wright, I'll go Kendall Wright against a banged up secondary. Need two, Amir Abdullah, Roddy White, Crabtree, Stevie Johnson, Gurley, or Hillman. I'll go Roddy White to bounce back, and I like Stevie Johnson's matchup. Mike Wallace, Andre Johnson, Anquan Bolden. Need one. I'm going to go contrarian here. Andre Johnson to get involved back in the flow. Brown or Landry. I like Brown. Mariota or Bradford, like Mariota. You always recommend to stay away from an injured player. With that said, the game tomorrow for Lacey and late game for Stewart. How do I rank those two? I don't always say that. I say when you're in doubt, you always go with a healthy player. That's what I say. If you're not sure if a guy is going to play, you always go with the healthy player. That said, both of these guys are banged up, but I'm going to go with Stewart for the better matchup. Dalton, Tannehill, or Palmer. Definitely Palmer. I have both Lacey and Starks. Do I just play Gore? I'm good with that. I think Gore's going to be very good today. I have Bradford and Stafford. Would you pick up Mariota, Foles, Bridgewater, Dalton for this week only? I like Mariota for this week. Bradford's up and down. It's hard to cut either one of those two guys. I would cut Bradford for now. Pick up Mariota, play him this week. Need a running back, wide receiver, and a flex. Yeldon, Woodhead, Spiller, Cooks, Adams, and Decker. Decker is out today. Yeldon, Woodhead, and Adams. Yeldon and Murray. I like both of them. I like Murray a little better. Bengals and Pats. I like the Bengals a little bit better. Sammy Watkins or David Johnson. David Johnson for more upside. Super flex and a flex. Gore, Woodhead, and Flacco. Always go with the quarterback and like Frank Gore a lot today. For set of Moncrief. Definitely Moncrief. Ivory, Powell, Lamar Miller. I'll go Ivory now that he starts. Peyton or Bradford. Definitely Peyton Manning. Not even close. Steve Smith or Moncrief. Love Moncrief for the upside, but Smith owns the Bengals. Every year is different. You can't look at the past for Steve Smith. Go with Moncrief. Drop John Brown for Stevie Johnson. No way would I drop John Brown with the matchup he's got today. Is Hankerton work a roster spot over Devontae Parker, Aguilar, Pyramid? I would rather have him than Devontae Parker right now. Need two between Lockett, Landry, and Hopkins, non-PPR. Gets points for return yardage in that case. That's tough. I'm going to have to go Landry and Lockett. Woodhead, Gio, Keenan Allen. Like Keenan Allen today. Need one on flex, non-PPR. Abdullah, Spiller, Bolden, Stevie Johnson, Rashard Matthews. I like Stevie there. I need two in a PPR for Set, Yeldon, and Gordon. I'll be benching for Set there. Geno Atkins playing very well. Cameron or Ebron. I'll go Cameron now that he's playing. Walker or Heath Miller. I really like Heath Miller today against the St. Louis defense. I think he's a good DFS play, too. Moncrief, Terrence Williams, or Vincent Jackson. Definitely Moncrief. John Brown and Moncrief, that's tough, but John Brown for more upside. Do I drop Bailey for Bryant with Romo and Dez out? I'm good with that. Jordan Cameron or Ebron. Worried Cameron could be scaled back, but I don't like Ebron against Denver, so go Jordan Cameron. Jets or Browns. Jets are a better unit. Thoughts on Abdullah's production today? Not much upside against the Broncos. Standard league needs three Powell, Blunt, Mike Evans, and Crabtree. With Ivory starting, I don't think you can use Powell. Need two wide receivers from Evans, Allen Robinson, and Stevie Johnson. Evans has a week back under his belt. Love Allen Robinson's matchup. Patriots or Dolphins. I'll go the Dolphins. I think it's going to be tough for Buffalo on the road today. Need two out of Brandon Marshall, Megatron, Fitzgerald, and DeAndre Hopkins. Still can't bench Calvin Johnson. I really like Brandon Marshall today. Jimmy Graham or TJ Yeldon. That's a tough one. I think Graham's got to get back involved today. CJ Anderson or Deion Lewis. I think Anderson bounces back. Rivers or Dalton. Rivers has been playing very well. He's more steady than Dalton. Palmer or Big Ben. I can't bench Roethlisberger, and you may want to trade Palmer. 1 point PPR. Need two out of Devontae Adams, Stevie Johnson, and Brandon Cooks. I'm rethinking that Palmer or Roethlisberger, though. I'm actually going to go Palmer there. I need two out of Devontae Adams, Stevie Johnson, Brandon Cooks. Stevie Johnson liked the matchup today and don't like Cooks, so Devontae Adams. Peyton Manning or Carson Palmer. I like Carson Palmer a lot today. Yeldon or Ingram going forward, which one would you keep? I like Yeldon better today. I think you have to rotate them better based on matchups and whether Breeze is in. Gilmore or Cameron, I'll go Cameron. Will Gates be San Diego tight end one once he's healthy? Yes, he doesn't lose that status. 1 point PPR needs three of Forsett, Forte, Gore, Woodhead, Cooks. Can't bench Forte no matter who he faces. Gore can score more than once, and I'll go Forsett. CJ Anderson or Ingram, I think Anderson bounces back. Devontae Adams or Cook, worried about Adams because of Monday night. He's expected to play. I'll go with Adams. Moncrief or John Brown. Love both of them, but I think Brown has a little more upside today. Rudolph or Walker. Rudolph better chance of a touchdown. You drop Andre Johnson to pick up Mike Wallace or Stevie Johnson. Right now, I'd rather have Stevie, but over the long term, I'd rather have Andre, so I say no. What kind of numbers for Flacco today? I don't think it's good against Cincinnati. 250 yards, one touchdown, and one interception. Will Miami end up a top five unit? They got problems at middle linebacker. I say no, but they'll probably be like top 7 or 8. John Brown at Crabtree, definitely John Brown. Need two running backs out of Stewart, Miller, Gore, and Danny Woodhead. Definitely Gore today. If it's a PPR, I go Woodhead. If it's a non-PPR, I go Stewart. Aguilar was dropped. Would you drop David Johnson for him? No, can't do it yet. Also on Abdullah, Gordon, Forsett, Yeldon, and Foster. Yeah, I just don't think you have room for him right now. Okay, we're all caught up here. Why so high on John Brown if it's Fitzgerald's 3 TD performance? Every week in the NFL is different. Because Fitzgerald did so well last week, you may get more defensive attention this week, which opens up things for Brown. Ingram or Crowell, much better chance of getting in the end zone. Uh, Duke Johnson or Sankey for more touches. Start Rashard Matthews or drop for Hearns or Dobson. I like Hearns against that secondary in New England. Need two running backs out of Stewart, Lewis, and C.J. Anderson. I think C.J. Anderson rebounds. Non-PPR, I go Stewart. Need two, John Brown, Dante Moncrief, Stevie Johnson, Jordan Matthews. Brown and Moncrief definitely the most upside. Drop Rashard Matthews for Charles Johnson. I wouldn't do that just quite yet. Okay, let's keep it going here. Need two, Gio Bernard, Hyde, Lamar Miller, Spiller, David Johnson. Hyde must start, and David Johnson for the upside. Need three for the following in a standard: Devontae Adams, Steve Smith, Hilton, Crabtree, Decker is out. Wheaton. Gotta go Steve Smith, Hilton, and Adams are your best. Rudolph or Bennett. I'm gonna go Rudolph today. Better matchup. Two running backs and a half-point PPR. Randall, David Johnson, C.J. Anderson, Lamar Miller. C.J. Anderson bounces back, and Randall need a wide receiver from Cooper, Andre Johnson, James Jones, or Stevie Johnson. I'll go Stevie there. I think he's gonna have a very good day. Do you think Hawks double the spread today? I'm going 45-3 in a huge statement scrimmage, and that 3 might be hard for Clausen and the Bears. I think that's kind of overrating it. I could see this being like maybe a 31-10 game. I don't know what the spread is. I don't bet. McManus or Bailey, definitely McManus. He's been really good. Seattle, D. Graham and Lynch, too much Seattle and Turney DFS. Uh, Not really, no, but I think you had a better picks than Lynch today. So I dropped my second defense to pick up Victor Cruz. I'm okay with that. Cruz is going to have to get involved with the offense when he comes back. PPR, Allen Robinson, Macklin, or T.Y. Hilton. Please pick one. I really like Allen Robinson today. How do you feel about the Kansas City defense today against Green Bay? Don't like them at all. Drop Crabtree for Cruz. I don't think you have to do that yet. I need a defense out of Browns, Bills, Patriots, Jets, and Texans. I like the Bills and the Jets. I'm slightly lean towards I'm slightly lean towards Buffalo. It's a low scoring game. Hill or Murray, definitely Hill. He bounces back. What do you think about Chris Polk against a weak run defense? And with Blue, would you go with him or Duke Johnson? I don't like Chris Polk. I don't think he's very talented. I don't think that run defense is as weak as you make it out to be. Uh, but if I got to pick one and him, Duke Johnson, I'll go with Duke Johnson. Pick two at a 1 point PPR: Yeldon, Murray, Martin, and Miller. It's definitely not Miller. I love Murray, and I slightly prefer Yeldon over Martin. Moncrief or Devontae Adams at the flex, definitely Moncrief. Need two for a flex: Ingram, Powell, Starks, Terrence Williams, Vincent Jackson, and Gurley. I'll go with Terrence Williams and Vincent Jackson. I really don't like Ingram today. Would you recommend dropping Crabtree for Cruz? I already answered that. Again, don't type your question twice. I do see all of them. Need two wide receivers and a flex in a PPR. James Jones, Mike Wallace, Bolden, Cooks, Andre Johnson, or Colston. I'm going to go Jones to score again. Andre Johnson to get back involved in the offensive flow, and Bolden to be busy. Would you go Hyde or Marshawn considering he starts? I'll still play it safer with Hyde. What do you see Spiller's PPR value today moving forward? He on deal Lewis the future PPR flex to count upon. See Jake is keeping his stiff upper lips in light of Anderson's slow start. Thanks, Coach. I think Anderson rebounds today. I don't think there's a definite start between Lewis and Spiller going forward because Spiller doesn't stay healthy. Take it 1 week at a time and go with Dion Lewis today. Yeldon, Crowell, or David Johnson? Definitely Yeldon. Need a flex and a running back, 1 point PPR. John Brown, Doug Martin, Latavius Murray, or Ivory. Love Latavius Murray and John Brown today, two of my favorites. Need two: Starks, Gore, Jeremy Hill, Williams. I think Jeremy Hill bounces back and Gore could score more than once today. Crockett, Gilmore, Ertz. That's tough. I don't like either one, but I'll go Gilmore. Need a defense out of Steelers, who I would never use. Eagles, Vikings, Browns, Rams, or Falcons. I would definitely use the Browns there. You think Forsett will get it together? You seem pretty low on him today, even though Cincinnati's giving up quite a bit on the ground so far this year. What are your thoughts behind that? Let's see. Who has Cincinnati played so far? Defense. Give me 1 second here. I want to check a stat. Cincinnati hasn't been bad against the run. They've given up less than 100 yards a game and haven't given up a touchdown run. I don't know what you're talking about there, Ryan. Geno Atkins is playing very well. I don't know where you're getting that from. Uh, Forsett is never a guy who struck me as a feature back over an extensive period. I can't reassure you about that. Bolden, AJ, or Lockett, you don't bench AJ Green. Gurley, Mason, or Matthews. I think Mason will probably give you the most upside. Not looking for too much from Gurley yet. Benjamin or Sammy Watkins. I'll go Watkins there. Andre Johnson's not been impressive. Do you see improvement? I think he'll get more involved. Would you drop Garcon for Cruz? Not right now. Garcon's healthy and will continue to get a lot of targets, especially if it's a PPR. Drop Cody Parkey for Arizona, Carolina kicker. I would continue to hold on to Parkey. Need two: Yeldon, Forsett, Randall, and Bernard. I go Yeldon, Forsett. You okay with Tate as a wide receiver 3? Do you want an upgrade? I want an upgrade. I think you know the answer to your own question. Hopkins or Kendall Wright? Hopkins is good to go today. Need running back and a wide receiver. Forsett, Freeman, David Johnson, Dion Lewis, Benjamin, John Brown, James Jones. Love John Brown today, and I will stick with Forsett there. Stafford is banged up. Stafford or Fitzpatrick. Stafford's probable. He's fine. I stick with him. Need 2 running backs at a Stewart, Gore, Woodhead, and Miller. Stewart and Gore definitely based on the matchups. Todd Gurley and David Johnson. Don't want to use Gurley just yet. Numbers for John Brown today. I'm going to say 5 catches for 110 yards and a touchdown. Okay, from Brian. Need a linebacker between Houston, Alec Ogletree, Tevin Smith, or DeQuell Jackson. Let me see if I can get this answer for you. Hold on. Give me 1 second, Brian. I'm going to call our IDP guy. .4 points for sack, 8 points for interception. Hey, how you feeling? Good. I'm in the middle of the chat. Are you okay with answering an IDP question? Or you rather have me directed to someone else? Okay, Tim. 1 point per tackle from Brian, 4 points per sack, 8 points for an interception. Need a linebacker between Houston, Ogletree, Tevin Smith, or DeQuell Jackson. One second there, Brian. Tevin Smith and DeQuell Jackson. Okay, thanks a lot. Okay, thanks. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye. Thank you. Tim McCullough, our IDP guy. Make sure you follow him on Twitter or ask for an email advice. Brian, he says go with Ogletree. He likes his matchup. Pick one, Dunbar, Ivory, or Carlos Williams. I'll go with Ivory now that he's going to play. Expectations for Gurley, not too much. Maybe about 10, 12 carries. Fleener or Ertz. I'll take my chances on Fleener there. Duke Johnson, Charles Clay, or Royal. Ugh, I'll go with Duke Johnson. Gurley over Dion Lewis or David Johnson this week, not yet. Lacey or Melvin Gordon. I like Melvin Gordon a lot today, especially in daily. He's really starting to run well. Devonta Freeman or Crowell. Crowell gives you a better shot for a touchdown. Jeremy Hill over Marshawn. Yes, I think Hill rebounds. Brown or Matthews, definitely Brown. Hill or Murray, definitely Hill. Need wide receiver, running back, and a flex from Stevie, Woodhead, Devontae Adams, Hyde, Doug Martin, Rashard Matthews. I go Hyde, Martin, and Stevie. Jeremy Hill, Cruella Freeman, definitely Hill. Not downgrading Hill to that point yet. Gio or David Johnson. David Johnson. Report from Adam Schefter said Hankerson and White in a timeshare. That's a big blow for Roddy White. Should I drop him for Lockett? I just don't think he can do it. A timeshare there maybe means less of a running game. I still think Roddy gets heavily involved. Need 2 in a PPR. Moncrief, David Johnson, or Watkins. I'd bench Watkins there. Does Gio Bernard get in over C.J. Anderson, Latavius Murray? No way. Does Fred Jackson get in there? Given the Lynch injury, Lynch is going to play. I think you're overthinking it there, Kang. David Johnson today, PPR. I'll say 35 rushing yards and 60 receiving yards and a touchdown. Can I rely on Witten? It all depends on who your other option is, but I would, he always plays through pain. Would you rather Golden Tate or Victor Cruz long term in a PPR? I think it's too early to look at the long term. We really have to see how Cruz's health works out. Right now, I'd rather be a little bit more patient on tape, but the window's closing. Expectations for Jordan Cameron today, not good. All depends on who you have. Hold on to Matt Jones going forward. Yes, he might be boom or bust. He's a stinker, yes, but he's going to be up and down. I don't think you cut him. He's going to have some good games. He's not. He's going to be inconsistent, but some weeks he can really help you win. Need a running back 2 and a flex. Yeldon, Gore, John Brown, Stevie Johnson, Bilal Powell. Uh, Love John Brown today, and Gore could score more than once. Wish he could get Yeldon in there too. Need 2 to play out of Lacey, Tate, Bernard, Spiller, Joik, Bell, and Colston. I know Lacey's using absolute, but he's questionable on Monday night and don't have Starks. Lacey is expected to play. I would stick with Lacey. The rest of your choices are not too encouraging. I would go with Lacey and Bernard. All right, we are all caught up here. Okay, let's keep it moving. Dunbar, Carlos Williams, Ivory. I'll go Ivory now that he's going to start. Need to drop Kansas City defense. Who would you pick up? Bengals, Vikings, Colts, 49ers, or Steelers? There's no way I'm using the Steelers ever. Uh, go with the Bengals. Who are your top 3 scoring wide receivers this week? Antonio Brown, Julio Jones, and Allen Robinson. Need to sit one. Cooper, Vincent Jackson, Forte, Gio, Melvin Gordon. I think you got to go Gio there. I think. Why you so down on Ingram? There's no other offense. I think I'm down on him because the defensive coordinator knows that as well, and so do the Carolina Panthers, who have a very good defense. Stevie or Andre Johnson. I think Stevie's very busy today. Melvin Gordon or Forsett. I think Melvin Gordon could have a breakout game today. Need 2. Moncrief, Jordan Matthews. Crabtree, Crowell. Worried about Matthews. I don't blame you. I would go Moncrief and Crowell. Would you trade Calvin and Ingram or McCoy for Forte and Jordan Matthews or Allen Robinson or Amari Cooper? I would do it if I could. Good time to buy on Forte before he plays the Seahawks, possibly. Getting a run back upgrade there. And, if you can buy low on Jordan Matthews, I would do it. If somebody's still big on Calvin, I would try to work something out there. Lacey or Starks? Lacey is expected to play. What day is your chat during the week? Sometimes it switches. Thanks. It's customarily Friday at 7. Would you go with Lacey or risk and play it safe and go with Watkins or Bolden? I couldn't use those guys over Lacey. Production for Dunbar today. I'm going to say about 4 catches for 45 yards. Is Matt Jones a viable starter as an RB2 flex, or did the end zone fumble make this a full-blown running back by committee? He's never going to be the guy that gets most of the carries. It's going to be pretty much a committee going forward. It has nothing to do with the fumble. Uh, you know, he's the guy who can make the most of every touch, and he's going to be very up and down, boom or bust, and that's what you're going to have to live with. Uh, let's see. Currently rolling with Eli with Romo out. Would you consider dropping Romo for Kaepernick and play the matchup game with Eli? I have an IR position, but currently have Thomas there. And I'm really hurting at tight end. Was hoping to breathe life in my tight end position. I'm okay with that. It's really hard to wait for Romo to come back. Ivory or Dunbar in a PPR. Ivory may not be 100%. I'll go Dunbar. Polk or Bilal Powell and FanDuel. I think you're trying to get way too cute there. I wouldn't use either. I think you may be better off going low priced at wide receiver. Ingram or Ivory. Ingram's in better health. Starks, Miller, Amir, or Spiller. None of those good. I'm going to go with Abdullah maybe for the most possible upside. What are your thoughts on Rashard Matthews in a flex DFS cash game? Don't like him against Buffalo. Dante Moncrief or Jordan Matthews? Definitely Dante Moncrief. Should I put in Fab from a cluster? No, that's a waste. They were playing from behind last week. Dexter McCluster's never been a good fantasy player. Still high on John Brown as a breakout wide receiver, top 20. Yeah, I think he's gonna have a big day today. Delaney Walker, Ladarius Green. You know, I don't I don't even know if Green's gonna play today. Go with Walker. Will Breeze return soon? I can't give you reassurance. They don't know about him for week 4. Cincinnati or Miami? I like both of them. I think Cincinnati's the better unit. Foles or Rivers? Rivers is playing really well. I can't use Foles over him. Need a defense, Bengals, Colts, Vikings, 49ers, Steelers. You never use the Steelers. The Bengals are playing very well. Geno Atkins has them rejuvenated. All right. Baldwin and Beasley or Lockett and Charles Johnson, a wide receiver in DraftKings. I'll go Lockett, but I think you'll find better than Charles Johnson. Maybe Kenny Britt or Alan Hearns are guys I'd rather use. Thoughts on Bradford or Kaepernick, point per completion? I'll go with Kaepernick. Arizona's been giving up some passing yardage, and he's looking better as a passer. Terrence Williams or Vincent Jackson? I still stick Terrence Williams. Hill or Crowell? I think that's too reactionary to bench Jeremy Hill for Isaiah Crowell. It's looking too much at last week and not the bigger picture. Tannehill or Foles? I think Tannehill's just a better fantasy quarterback. Polk or Bilal Powell or FanDuel? I think you're trying to get too cute there with a punt. I would rather have a lower price wide receiver than rely on either one of those guys. Fitz or Brown in DFS? I think Brown is a better tournament play. I like Fitzgerald better in cash games. How far can the Mets go? Honestly, uh, I was expecting, I was hoping that it would just be respectable. The division title's really nice. I just don't know if I could see them going all the way to the World Series, but maybe winning one round. I hope I'm wrong. Bradford, Kaepernick, or Dalton, please prioritize for most upside rest of season. Uh, I you really can't ask for rest of the season answers in week 3. We're still seeing how things work out. Right now, I'd probably like to have Kaepernick the most of them, and then Bradford. Was offered trade in a Twade. What am I, Baba Wawa? Foster and Roddy White for AJ Green and Doug Martin. No way, you're not getting enough back. You will regret trading Martin, possibly. Mike Evans or Allen Robinson, like both of them a lot today, but I think Robinson has the better matchup. All right, we all caught up. I hang around till 11:30. Wheaton or Aiken in DraftKings. I don't like either one. If you're looking to save money, I like Kenny Britt. I like Alan Hearns. I like Tyler Lockett and Jermaine Kearse to a lesser extent. Do you think Kaepernick is playing better than he has in the past? Yeah, I think he's going through a progressions better. Looks like he's making more sound decisions. Accuracy is definitely there. That was a really nice slant that he threw to Torrey Smith last week. David Johnson or Doug Martin. I think Martin's on the verge of a breakout game again. It could be today. Need running back 2 and a flex from the following: Gore, Jonathan Stewart, Duke Johnson, Keenan Allen, and John Brown. Gore could score more than once today. Love John Brown for a lot of upside against the 49ers. Excuse me. Numbers for Carson Palmer. I say 310 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Tyrod Taylor or Andy Dalton today. I think I like Dalton's matchup just a little bit better. Pick one: Mike Wallace, Mason, Joique Bell, Chris Johnson. I'm going to go with Mason there against the Steelers. I think maybe he can break loose for a big run or two. Britt or Hearns, who do I roll with in DraftKings? I like Hearns a little bit better. I think Britt hits a big play, but you get better volume from Hearns. Drop Delaney Walker for Vernon Davis. I have my other tight end. I wouldn't do that. I think Walker's going to work very well with Mariota. Watkins or Percy Harvin, I can't play Percy Harvin. I can't trust him. Start Matt Ryan or Tannehill. Definitely Matt Ryan today. Dion Lewis or Frank Gore. I think Frank Gore could get in the end zone more than once. That offense is really going to pick it up for the Colts today. Colts and the Seahawks are two teams that are really going to pick it up today offensively. Marshall or Jarvis Landry in DFS. I like Brandon Marshall a lot today against Byron Maxwell. Does Moncrief start over Andre Johnson going forward? Let's take it 1 week at a time, but Moncrief's definitely more involved in the mix right now. Frank Gore, Doug Martin. Again, I love Gore today. I think he's safer. Martin does have upside, but not as much as Gore. Trust Dion Lewis in the Pats backfield pretty much as a flex player. I think he's going to continue to see about 50% of the work. Every year is different. You can't always base it on the past. Look, it wouldn't surprise me if LeGarrette Blunt got the most of the carries today, but I think they're not going to phase Dion Lewis out. Numbers for Landry today. Not expecting a big game. Maybe about 7 catches for 65 yards. Decent PPR numbers. Crowell or Melvin Gordon. I like both of them today, but I feel like Gordon's on the verge of a breakout game. He's been running really well, and the Vikings are vulnerable to the run. Gio Wallace, Devonta Freeman, Gore, or Woodhead for DraftKings Flex. Again, I really like Gore today. I'm rolling out more than one lineup today. Tannehill or Winston. I think using Winston over Tannehill is getting too cute. Jarvis Landry, Kendall Wright, half point PPR. I do like Wright, but Landry is more proven and reliable. Sproles production today. I think he gets involved in the flow, not big numbers. 6 catches for about 50 yards. It's good in the PPR. Yeldon or Landry. Uh, 10 points, a touchdown. I think Yeldon gives you a better shot of getting in the end zone. And Pat's D or Broncos D points against count more than turnovers. I think Denver's got a better shot of holding it down. Give me your thoughts on this 10-team non-PPR. Have Mariota for this week, but other QBs are waiver wire for next week and beyond. Are Kaepernick, Dalton, Foles, Fitzgerald, McCown, Smith, Bradford. I wouldn't worry about next week yet, Jim. I think you have to see how it goes from week to week. Overall, though, if I could have two of those on my roster right now, not looking at the week 3-4 matchup. You got to let week 3 finish. But right now, if I had to roster two of those guys, I'd probably have Mariota and Kaepernick right now and rotate them. How has Crowell looked this season? Duke Johnson is available as Johnson. We're statsing in a PPR. I think it ended up being a timeshare there. But I don't think Duke Johnson's ever the type of guy who's going to become a workhorse, 20 to 25 carry game back. Crowell's going to be there for touchdowns. I think he has potential as a flex. Flex, Stewart, Martin, Roddy White, Crowell, and Gore. Uh, I like the upside of Martin today, but I think Gore can get in the end zone more. Rona shave his head if the Mets win the World Series. You should propose it on the show tomorrow. Maybe I'll grow hair if they do. And Andy, you should call in tomorrow. 888 XM Fantasy. Miami defense looked pretty ineffective. Will they get it together? They're having problems at middle linebacker there. They're underachieving. I think they bounce back today. But if you're looking for a rest of the season defense answer, it's very, very hard. Unless you have the Seahawks or the Broncos or the Panthers, you're probably going to be rotating every week. Well, you just don't get the rest of the season reassurance in fantasy football, especially in week 3. That's why it's such a challenging game. Brady or Luck in DraftKings. I like them both a lot. I could go either way. I'm slightly preferring Luck. Yeldon or Landry. I like Yeldon to get more work today and get in the end zone. Pats or Broncos. I like the Broncos better. Beast mode or Gore with Lynch being banged up. I'm going to go Gore today. I think he can really perform well. He's still running hard. I thought those guys were not supposed to do that after 30 years old. Oh, well. All right, we're all caught up. I can stay for a few minutes longer if you still have questions. Moncrief or John Brown in DFS? Moncrief is cheaper, so I'm going to go Moncrief. I'm okay with pairing them together and spending up at running back or a tight end. Brady versus Luck that I have Gronk at tight end. In that case, I like to go with the connection. I don't like the connection in seasonal leagues, but I love it in daily. I got multiple lineups out there. One with Brady, one with Gronk. Thank you very much, Peter. You have a great name. It's like Peter Chris. Worried about Ivory health moving forward? Always. You saw what happened in New Orleans. Then the first year with the Jets, he was banged up even though he played the full schedule. And they scaled his carries back last year because they were worried about him being healthy. Then this year already a groin and a quad. So yes, I'm definitely worried. Numbers for David Johnson today. I say about 45 receiving yards, rushing yards, and about 60 receiving yards and a touchdown. Thanks for sticking around, Andy. Andy, I can't do this without you. I really appreciate you too. Martellus Bennett or Rudolph. I think Rudolph gives you a better shot at getting the end zone. Will the Eagles get it together? They're on a long losing streak going back to last season. I think when you like Chip Kelly and you overhaul, the problem with that is everybody's not on the same page when the games start, even if they look good in the preseason. And that's the issue. They may have to put in Sanchez. I need one wide receiver and a flex between Evans, Keenan Allen, and Yeldon. Uh, I think I think Evans bounces back today, and I like Yeldon to get a lot of work. Need a wide receiver, Evans and Keenan Allen. I'll go Evans. I do like both. It's close, but I'm going to go Evans. Considering the problems of the Lion quarterbacks, I sit Calvin for any of the following: Keenan Allen, John Brown, Jonathan Stewart. I think you're overthinking it there. It's still Calvin Johnson. John Brown or Woodhead. I have Carson Palmer going right with the connection. I like John Brown today. Gates or Rudolph as a backup tight end. Uh, Rudolph for now. Let's see how he plays the next week or two. There's some upside there. Should we just go ahead and plug in David Johnson instead of an injured Lynch? No, Lynch is expected to play. He starts. You use him over a guy like David Johnson. Will Abdullah get going? I think, you're looking at a Matt Jones type situation. It's not like he's never going to have a good game again, but today's not a good matchup. Consistency is going to be an issue with these young guys who make the most of a lot of touches. They're not workhorses. They're never going to be workhorses. There are risks every week. There's a lot of upside. They're boomer bust players. Start Ivory or go with Powell. Ivory's expected to start, so you go with Ivory. All right. Pretty much answered everything at this point. Want to thank everybody for coming by today. Next chat is tomorrow at noon with Jake Seeley. Is Brandon Cook startable today? It depends on your other options. I would say I don't like him today. All right. Thanks a lot, everyone. And you can use Dolphins or Broncos D. Points mostly determined by points against and turnovers. Oh, here comes more questions. We can stay. Then turnover special teams don't count. I just think the Broncos are a better unit, even though they do allow Miami today. Is Abdullah the running back to own Detroit? Yes, but again, consistency is going to be an issue. Very concerned about taking Kershaw and Greinke in a short series. Well, I think they might be concerned about facing DeGrom, Harvey, Syndergaard. So it's going to be an even matchup. It all depends on execution. It's not about who's better on paper necessarily. Both teams have very good pitching. All right, everybody. Thanks a lot.